So I wanted to make this video about something that has really been on my mind and I think not many people are talking about, and it's about how resolution and graphics has really slowed down gaming and the experience of gaming. So what I mean by this is everyone in the gaming industry, from the developers to the studios to Microsoft, PlayStation, um, they've all prioritized graphics and resolution over frame rate. The only exception is, I would say, Nintendo, where they don't prioritize graphics and their games, but their games still don't hit a lot of times 60 frames, and that's why I can't really give them a full pass. Because the main thing that I am saying is that 60 frames a second should be mandated in every single video game in 2024 and beyond. It should have been done a long time ago, but for marketing reasons and many other reasons for the casuals, business heads have decided to market graphics. And what I mean by this is the boxes like the PlayStation 4 Pro, the Xbox One X, even I think the original Xbox One and PS4, and now with the PS5 Pro, they put on the box 4K, and the PS5 Pro, I think it leaked that the box is going to say 8K because they could do, upscaled checkerboard, blah, 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 smart AI, upscaling, all this stuff that isn't native 8K, but then they could technically put 8K. So it's all marketing. Um, I don't think, like, what games are out there, like on the new consoles, that are native 4K? Getting native 4K 60 on PC is not even a common thing. It's mainly like 1440p 60. And yeah, it's just, I don't know why this push for 4K came about. I speculate it's because of 4K TVs, and Sony makes TVs and they wanted to push their 4K TV. So they really try to push it in the gaming industry when they really shouldn't have. Because the honest truth is, if they want graphics, right? If they want games to be all about graphics, you would want 60 frames a second. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean, games, the character models, the models of the mobs, the buildings, the environments, it all looks better with 60 frames a second because you can see the characters better. They're more smooth. When they move, you can see the movements fluently. When it's 30 frames a second, it is so choppy and blurry and hard to see. For example, I tried to play Destiny 2 a couple, maybe like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. No, like a year and a half ago. I tried to play it on my Xbox One X, and not Series X, One X, and it's 30 frames a second. It just looked so choppy and blurry and horrible, and the graphics seemed horrible because it's just choppy. But when you switch it to 60 frames, if you play it on the new consoles or PC, it's all smooth. You can see all the details in the weapons and the environment and everything. So if developers want to push graphics, they should be pushing 60 frames. And yeah, it's just, I don't think graphics should be pushed as much as frame rate. I think 60 frames and above should be a mandate in the industry. Unfortunately, we're seeing now with a lot of games on the new consoles, it is hard to get 60 frames. Most games, a lot of them, like Helldivers 2 and Baldur's Gate 3, when you play it on performance mode, it's so dumb 60 frames or more has to be called performance mode. It should be the default. But anyway, when you switch it to performance mode, it's 1080p and it's 60 frames. In Baldur's Gate 3, sometimes it dips into the 50s, but it's 1080p. No 4K bullshit. No, 4K, 8K. No, it's 1080p, which is fine. Which is fine. I would rather have if it's 900p 30 or 720p, no. If there's a game that's coming out and they have to choose one between 960 or 720p 60, 900p 60, or 1080p 30 frames, I would choose 900 pixels 60 frames every time. 900p resolution 60 frames. 720p resolution 60 frames every time. That's what Call of Duty was on the 360 era and the PS3. It was like 720p or lower, and it was 60 frames. Maybe some of them were more than 720p, but I'm pretty sure it was always 720p 60 frames. Those games, like say you were playing Modern Warfare 2 in 2009, if it was 1080 30, that would have been awful. 60 frames is the way to go. I used to play, for any of you who played split screen games back in the day, for example, like Star Wars Battlefront, the originals, or Halo 2 or something like that, Halo 3 on the 360. When you played split screen with your friends, especially 4-player split screen or 3-player split screen, the frame rate wasn't good. And I didn't know this. I didn't know anything about frame rates or anything back then. But then whenever I just did it, played the game on my own, hopped into like a single player campaign mission or something, and I had the whole screen, it played better, and I didn't understand. I just thought because I could see more. But no, it was because the frame rate was a lot better and it was a lot smoother. That is why. So, yeah, I think 60 frames a second should be mandated, but with the issue with these studios is they want to push their games to the limit. And when I say push, I mean they want their games to look the best that it can. And when they do that, they put all the bells and whistles, all the details, all the shaders, even, I don't even know why we're pushing right now. Gosh, what is it called? I'm losing it right now. I forgot what it's called, but it's the ray tracing. They're pushing ray tracing for some reason, even though consoles cannot handle it. It's just an FPS dump. You just lose so much from it. But these developers push ray tracing, graphics, shaders, resolution, details, full everything. And then they push that on the PC, and then they go backwards from there, or they push it onto the PS5 and then go backwards from there. So when they do that, then they need to make a performance mode, and that's where you get then the 1080p 60 barely. If developers started from 60 frames a second or above from the beginning and then developed their game around that, a lot of these games that are 1080 60, maybe medium settings, would be like 60, maybe some high settings, and would be maybe a little bit higher resolution because they optimized it around 60 frames a second. But right now, it's only getting optimized around the best looking game they could have, and then they deal with the frame rate and getting it on consoles. So, yeah, I think, I don't know, the title of this video, I think, is how graphics has pushed gaming backwards or has slowed down gaming. Yeah, guys, if 60 frames a second was the mandate, these consoles would have been a lot different. They would have maybe focused on a better CPU in all the generations, but this gen, it's an okay CPU with Ryzen, but maybe Microsoft and Sony would have gotten a better Ryzen CPU this gen and maybe focus less on the GPU part. I don't know. But I think if frames a second was focused more, gaming wouldn't be held back as much. And I think that it's still not being focused on unless you're being forced essentially now to just switch to PC and build your own PC because these companies aren't going to ever focus. When was the last time you saw on a box 60 FPS on like an Xbox box or a PlayStation box? PS5 under 60 FPS. I've never seen that. I've only seen the 4K in gold. I've only seen that. So, yeah, I think it should be mandated. Comment down below if you agree or if you think 30 frames is fine. I believe my years in gaming would have been a lot better with games at 60 frames a second. It's annoying playing From Software games at 30 frames a second. Yep, all right, so thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and see you guys in the next video.